you may know, Vechain is the world's leading blockchain application platform driven by enterprise adoption. So I'm very proud to welcome Vechain for four main reasons. First, it was founded actually in 2015. Vechain is one of the earliest blockchain technology companies in the world, with offices in China, Europe, US, Singapore, and Japan. Secondly, because it has a proven expertise in many industries, and many industries proven cases of enterprise-grade applications across various sectors such as food safety, carbon footprint, sustainability, luxury goods, consumer goods, alcohol, automotive, and so forth, which has made breakthrough in information consistency and business model innovation. Third, because it is an easy to deploy blockchain platform robust and secure blockchain infrastructure featuring turnkey solution with both software and hardware to ensure quick implementation for enterprises and developers. And last but not least, it has a huge partner network and business ecosystem, including many businesses and technology partners. So to introduce Dimitris in 2 words, he's actually UK and EU ecosystem manager of Vechain Europe. Dimitris has graduated from the University of Nicosia with a bachelor's degree in law. He has a strong background in legal consulting, mergers and acquisitions, and corporate and commercial law. And he's also provided on compliance. He also provided compliance advices to blockchain companies in Europe. And he joined Vechain actually in 2019 and facilitates the adoption of Vechain enterprise solutions in Europe. So, Dimitris, the floor is yours. If you need any help I don't know if you need help to broadcast your slides, or if you need to share slides.
I have it under control, but let me say first, thank you for the invitation, David. Thank you everyone for joining. It's an honor to me to be here today. We have talked a while ago with David offline, and I'm fascinated to be here. So one more time, thank you for organizing it. And without any delays, let me start sharing my screen and make it a bit more interactive to the audience. All right, I'm going to do full screen. All right, so we call it today's session 101 Vechain because it's an introduction keynote to Vechain. But before I jump to Vechain, I want to say a story, an observation that I come throughout these years I'm working for Vechain. So a lot of people are asking me, what job do you do, Dimitris? What is your work? And I'm telling them I'm working for a blockchain company, and they're telling me, but what is blockchain? And then I'm answering back to them with a question. Do you know what is Bitcoin? And then they respond to me, yes, we know what is Bitcoin. We're holding Bitcoin. We have invested in Ethereum. We have invested in Vechain. And I realize that a lot of people have invested into cryptocurrencies, but they don't know what is the underlying technology of the cryptocurrencies, which is the blockchain. So I think that the cryptocurrencies is the peak of the iceberg, and below of that peak is the whole technology, the blockchain technology. So when it comes to what is blockchain, when I'm trying to describe what is blockchain, I'm avoiding to describe blockchain in a technical way, because in a lot of my meetings, I'm encountering it's with non-technical people, with a lot of CEOs, a lot of directors that they are not familiar with the technology in general. So I need to be as simple as possible in order to understand what is the proposition of the technology. So in every meeting I'm going, and every presentation, and even today, I'm using the example of what is blockchain through the example that Sunny Liu, the CEO of Vechain, mentor and friend of mine, discussed what is blockchain about. And it's a very simple way of explanation. It's using a specific scenario that implies that you want to say, I love you to a girl, but you only say, I love you to a girl all alone. And that's the central system. And why is the central system? Because once you want to deny what you said, once you want to, let's say, lie about it or delete what you said and take it back, there is nobody to endorse that. And that is a central system. Now, in another scenario, a central system with a backup is when you want to say I love you trigger, but you use, for example, a friend of yours as a witness to also listen to that statement. And that's a central system with a backup. And if you want to deny what you said, if you want to lie about what you said and take it back, you need to convince your friend to lie for you, to lie about your statement. And that is how a central system with a backup works, even nowadays. Now, when it comes to blockchain, it works like this. You want to say I love you to a girl, but there are random multiple witnesses hearing your statement. You don't know them, but they listen to your statement. So the moment you want to deny what you said, lie about what you said, you cannot do that, but they will come back to you and say, no, you have said that statement to that girl, that time, that moment, at this place, etc., etc. And this is how blockchain works. It's all about the integrity, immutability, security of data. And I hope it's clear enough what is blockchain now in a very simplistic way, without touching the word of coding, without saying about the different protocols like proof of stake, proof of work, proof of authority, without mentioning smart contract, without even mentioning the coding language of, let's say, of solidity. Blockchain in a common language through love. Having said that, I would like to discuss more about Vechain, to tell you what is Vechain about. Vechain, as David correctly said, it was founded back in 2015, built in the private consortium for specific clients like BMW, Givenchy from LVMH. In 2017, we migrated to the public blockchain of Ethereum because we realized that the real power of blockchains don't rely on private blockchains, but on public, because they cannot be compromised as easily as private ones. And since then, we have been exploring the waters with different clients, also getting the feedback of Fortune 500 companies to understand what is the reason why they have not been exploring what is blockchain, why they have not built pilots, why they have not built in general into the blockchain environment. And some of the feedback we got, and I remember it, one example is, I was talking to a company and telling me, Dimitris, we understand the value proposition of blockchain, but how I'm going to justify the use of crypto for paying the fees of the smart contracts or the gas fees of the smart contracts on my legal department, on my accounting department, when there is not such an infrastructure. And also another bottleneck of public blockchains and also Ethereum is there is a lot of volatility. There is a lot of volatility, and also if you want your transaction, your data transaction, for example, to go through, you need to pay a large amount of crypto on the gas fees. So we started building solutions and we started positioning ourselves as enablers in order to lower down the barrier of entry for enterprises, also individuals. For example, in the first scenario, that is a real story about the crypto and how we justify it, we created the fee delegation protocol, which means that you experience the blockchain, you can build on the blockchain without touching the crypto, because everything is taken care of on our back end of our services. Also, we have built another protocol that is known as the multi-clause transaction protocol, which means that you don't need to send one by one transaction on the blockchain, but you can batch them all together and send them as one. That makes it more cheap, but also faster when you want to deploy a solution with a lot of data transactions. Also, on top of it, and we're proud to say that we have developed our turnkey solution, our flagship product, which is the Toolchain. And what is the Toolchain about? Toolchain is a SaaS solution, which means that you develop your solution without really developing it. So you can build a solution without even touching the smart contract, without touching the crypto that you need to pay for the gas fees, without the need to worry about the logic and the language of, for example, Solidity. Everything that is developing, it's developing the traditional way. So you just develop it and you just provide Vechain provide you with an API of Toolchain, and you have your solution ready on the blockchain, fast and scalable. And for that reason, we are one of the best public blockchain for enterprise adoption. That's why we have a strong partner network. For example, we have DNV, expert in classification and certification for more than 150 years. all of their digital assurance services, they are built on the Vechain blockchain. PwC, again, a strategic partner and equity holder as DNV, they are building their solutions of AirTrace, for example, of Walmart China on top of Toolchain, because Toolchain is the most friendly enterprise tool in order to adopt public blockchain solutions, easily scalable and fast. And apart from Toolchain, we're proud to say we are one of the most green friendly public blockchains, because we're running on a proof of authority protocol. And just some metrics so you can understand why we're saying we are one of the most green public blockchains is the comparison with Cardano. We are 100% less consuming the energy that Cardano requires on using a public blockchain. We are even greener than Ethereum, of course, than Bitcoin, even from Tezos. So we are very proud to say that we are not just the most friendly to enterprise, but also most friendly to the environment public blockchain. One stop before you have your blockchain solution ready. Having that said, for today, I created some slides with the most astonishing, most amazing solutions we have developed with our partners. And the first use case I want to discuss about is the Walmart China use case, which was built by PwC and Vechain in China. The Walmart China solution is about the consumer, of course, scanning the QR code of a product and see all the story that constitutes the product, about the product, from the supplier up to the shelf of the Walmart China supermarket. At the same time, though, it's a B2B solution, because Walmart China can have a live monitoring of their suppliers and the data intervals that affect the product and through the logistics, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a B2B2C solution. It's a very important solution because it enhances the transparency and trust, not just from the supermarket of Walmart to the consumer, but also to the supplier, to the supermarket, and the supplier to the consumer. That's why it's a B2B2C solution. Having that said, I want to discuss a solution that was developed by DNV, another strategic partner of Vechain, a very strong partner in Vechain in Europe, about my story. My story has really redefined the story of wine through technology, and has also expanded into other industries, for example, olive oil, tomato, even to clothing, and I'm going to discuss about clothing afterwards. But when it comes to wine, it really changed it, because it says the story of the wine from its genesis part, from the vineyard up to the bottling and distribution. But it's saying in a way that it all the processes that are taking place in order to make the wine have been audited, verified, and then put on the blockchain. So if we consider that blockchain is a trustless machine and is a single source of truth, imagine that DNV put their expertise there in order to audit that information before entering the blockchain. So this information, we can say that is double source of truth, because it has been audited by a third party, which is DNV, and then landed on the blockchain. Because on the blockchain, anyone can put in information. So it's not as transparent as without a DNV service or PwC service. Having that said, that started with the wine. So the consumer, when scans the wine, can see all the processes, as I said, of making the wine from vineyard up to bottle and distribution, audited by the third party, which is DNV. So the consumer can have trust that what is the wine is drinking is really the wine is drinking, taking all the steps that is saying that it's taking. And that is going to affect a lot the market in general, because the consumers are getting to start questioning what they're buying, about the price they're buying, and they're willing to pay more in order to be sure that what they're buying is really what they're buying. And this is all about the trust between the companies and the consumer. And this is how blockchain and third-party services like DNV and PwC have a role to play. And that brings me to my story about sustainability. and what we have done with H&M Group and Coastline. So when a consumer buys a garment from Coastline and scan the QR code of My Story, can see the story of the new garment that was created using second-hand clothes, used clothes, and all this process of take back and processing and creating the new garment has again been audited by every step by DNV. So again, the consumer has greater engagement, greater trust between the company, which is H&M, and the product which is buying. And since we are talking about DNV, I want to discuss more about another case that they have built a turnkey solution, MyCare. And why MyCare is important is because it came under COVID-19 situation, under COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic really made us realize, everyone, I guess, that digital transformation should not have happened today, not yesterday, but I mean not tomorrow, but today, because it really emphasizes the bottlenecks that we have as a society. And the MyCare was created in a way to safely, not just return to normalcy, but slowly open our business. And what is about is about tracking the risk management of infection and how to mitigate the risk of infection through digital assurance services of DNV. So DNV has been auditing different premises, for example, restaurants, hotels, offices, and provide them guidelines how to mitigate the risk of infection. After those companies, hotels, restaurants, even cruise lines, because we have also clients from DNV that have cruise lines, after they have passed the assessment, they were given a digital badge. So when you enter, for example, a hotel, a restaurant, etc., premise, the consumer can have the trust that where they enter, all the necessary steps were taken in order to mitigate the risk of infection. And that is very important because we have asked people to have certificates of vaccination, certificate of recovery, certificate of test. But what about companies? Why people should not also ask the other way around? And that is why blockchain has a role to play through MyCare. How I can trust the premise I enter that has taken all the necessary steps and I feel safe to enter it. Because you can trust the blockchain. It's not just a certificate that you can print and lie about it, because you cannot lie on blockchain. And that brings me to another use case, again about COVID-19, but it's very important, let's say, heritage that we're going to have from COVID-19 about certification, about health certificates. We have seen a lot of fake health certificates going around the world. And along with DNV, Vechain developed a solution in San Marino that is the first solution that is GDPR compliant, running on public blockchain, about health certificates about COVID-19. And how can you trust? Because San Marino state is not part of the European Union, so it needed also a gateway that can be trusted. And blockchain brings that value, brings this value. At the same time, though, you don't need to rely on central systems. You cannot hack it. You cannot intervene, because blockchain, along with the services of DNV, play a majority role in the trust, in the integrity, in the security of the data and of the health certificate. And it's important to note that these health certificates that have been built by DNV and Vechain for San Marino citizens are the first NFTs, non-fungible tokens for enterprise, because we know NFTs as another use case I'm going to discuss later, but it's the first enterprise NFTs that have been built. And of course, about health certificates, as I said, is the first GDPR solution built on a public blockchain. And because we're talking about healthcare, I want to say another solution we have built with our another strategic partner, Identity in Cyprus, the EHR, the healthcare wallet, from the two of the biggest hospitals in Cyprus, Mediterranean Hospital and Areteo Hospital. and it's about the medical records of people. So when we start building that solution, we had as rationale that the medical records belong to the people, and hospitals hold this, host this data as trustees, as the legal owners. At the same time, wanted to have to give control and ownership of this data to the people. So when a doctor wants to enter the medical record of a citizen, other than the case of emergency, should ask for authorization. And the citizen has a discretion to accept or deny this access to their medical record. And this relationship of requesting permission and requested granted, it is then underpinned on the blockchain. And that brings us to the trust and transparency communication between medical practitioners and the citizens. At the same time, we created a very powerful and beautiful application that the citizens can have their results anytime, anywhere, and understanding better their well-being or not, and how to become even more healthy. So you can see different elements we have built on this solution, and also the element of blockchain, why it's important. And that brings me to the last use case of today, and why I wanted to discuss about is about the non-fungible tokens, about the NFTs. The non-fungible tokens, it's a hyped topic nowadays, and thanks to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook changing their name to Meta, about metaverse. But let's go back and say why it changes and revolutionizes the market. Is because back in the days, you can buy something digital, but that something digital had no unique ID and had no ownership ID. Right now, with the non-fungible tokens, and digital art piece can have its unique ID on the blockchain and cannot be changed. And that's the important about blockchain, the immutability, security, integrity of data. I'm going to emphasize as long as possible in order for people to understand why blockchain is added value. And at the same time, when a citizen or when a person buys this non-fungible token, this digital art with a unique ID, it also creates a unique transaction ID with a unique ownership ID. So you can know that you are really the owner of this digital art. And we can see many artists preferring to sell their art through NFTs because they have the maximum capacity of profit in that way, but also in a way of communication is a trend. But in the future, I'm talking now futuristic, yeah, you can, with the artificial intelligence growing, this market can also bring us to how can I know that what I'm buying, it is really, for example, coming from this artist, how can I verify that it is an original one? And that is through by verifying the hash of the blockchain. And you can know that it's a reality. You can challenge, you can even legally enforce it. But that is very something futuristic. But I want to discuss a use case that we have been thinking in Vechain about NFTs in retail, and it's through phygital. So you can pre-order, for example, an item, and when you pre-order it, you have ownership of its digital art. At the same time, when the physical item is delivered to you, you can have a QR code, an NFC chip on the item where you can scan it and you can see the connection between the digital and the physical, but also most importantly, the story of the product, like the story we have seen from the My Story or from the Walmart China. So it's a way of connecting these two worlds between the technology. And if we take it a step further, imagine in the metaverse of Mark Zuckerberg, bring your own item to the metaverse, which is also proven that it's your item and it has its unique ID, but also it's a real item based on the processes of production that took place. Having that said, and concluding, we're proud to say one more time that we're the most friendly to enterprise, also friendly to the environment, to build your own solution through the Vechain Toolchain. The Vechain Toolchain has more than 70 live cases covering more than 20 industries, and we have we are a multidisciplinary protocol, because a lot of people think that Vechain is all about supply chain. No, it's not all about supply chain, but our strategic partners, DNV, PwC, Grant Thornton, are more emphasizing into the supply chain, because supply chain has the most bottlenecks, and also the companies, their clients, can understand better the use of blockchain starting from the supply chain. Thank you, everyone. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Here is my email. And that was the presentation about today. I tried to make it through use cases in order to be more understandable and the value proposition of blockchain. David, back to you about the Q&A session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dimitri. Excellent presentation, liked it. And I give the floor to Lou for the Q&A session now. And of course, firstly to our audience, if you have any questions, you'll get the priority for the questions. Please, the floor is yours, Lou.
Yes, yes. Feel free if you want to ask any question. You can put it in the chat. I'll ask them. There's one first question that I would like to ask you is, what does it mean for Vechain, the banning of crypto in China? What does it imply? What does it? What are the consequences, and what are the impacts for you?
Well, there is a misconception and misunderstanding of what we are saying about banning of crypto in China. China banned financial transactions through cryptocurrencies, but it has not banned transactions about data transactions using the blockchain technology. China is bullish about blockchain adoption. We have seen that, we have experienced that for the last years. For example, even the last 2 days, Vechain is in the Chinese International Import-Expo discussing about the use of blockchain in the supply chain, and it is endorsed by the Shanghai authorities. So it's important to distinguish this difference, because I understand there is also a miseducation about how to understand China. China tried to protect their people in a way to avoid the volatility of the market and the loss of funds. That's why it banned the cryptocurrency financial transaction, but it didn't ban blockchain transactions that add a real value to the business. For example, Walmart China is daily doing around, I think, 150,000 transactions on a daily basis. So they haven't banned Vechain for sure, because Vechain, as I said, is the most enterprise-friendly blockchain and friendly to the environment to build on top of it.
Thank you very much. There is Shanky Gupta, who is asking, what are the points needed to cover during quantitative research of Vechain, because he has apparently completed descriptive research on Vechain, and he's currently doing quantitative research. So I think the question is, what are the points he needs to cover during quantitative research?
I think this question is better to be answered by Peter Zhu, the chief scientist of research of Vechain. Please send me an email so I can assist you in a way in order to give a very precise answer to this.
Absolutely, and even probably a more elaborated question, like more precise, because it's really wide. I mean, quantitative research. What do you mean by, you know, what does it mean behind? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next question. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you also about the culture of Vechain. What is the culture of Vechain and the values that your CEO Sunny Liu is driving as the head of a new ecosystem, and that has also key responsibilities due to the major upheavals it can do. So what are the values you think of the company, the most important ones?
I think the most important thing about Vechain as a company is we're a family. I mean, when I joined Vechain in 2019, they literally hugged me with a lot of love. I mean, I'm not technical at all, yeah, and my background is legal. I literally dropped my legal career to join Vechain, and and the takeaway back from that was a lot of love, a lot of training, in order to understand what is the technology. They spent many hours, and they spent many hours for me to understand every turnkey solution, every module of Toolchain. So there is a lot of love. That is the culture about Vechain. There is a lot of love because if you treat people with love and respect, then it's coming back with many benefits from everyone. It's circular in a circular way. So and Sunny especially is a very inspiring person. He pushes us to the maximum, but not in a way that other CEOs can push in their companies, in a way that's inspiring. I always go back to Sunny for advising. And he always finds time for me, and I think for everyone in the company. Even though the company is expanding, we have more than 100 people now in the company, and yeah, there is a lot of love from everyone in the company, and a lot of the diversification. For example, I am from Cyprus. The Overseas team also has Jason from US, Jerome from France, David in Singapore. So we are a very diversified team, the Overseas team, yeah. And without love, I emphasize the word love because it's rare in the corporate environment. You cannot achieve greatly. So love and respect, this is the culture we have in Vechain. And when we say love, it's not just for our colleagues, but also to the environment. That's why we are building also solutions that are facilitating, for example, the decarbonization and carbon offsets. So yeah, love and culture for our colleagues, for the humanity, but also the nature.
I see. So love, respect, being conscious about the impacts of the new solutions you're bringing seems to be very important. Does it also apply to the whole ecosystem you have? Because you probably know that PwC will be on stage on the 7th of December on Zoom with blockchain at HEC. How does Vechain manage the relationship with its ecosystem, and particularly its official sponsors like our partner PwC? You said even in business to business, in the corporate world, you are the ones with love, but with love at such as in the heart of your culture. How does it materialize with your relationship with these sponsors like PwC?
Let me give you a better understanding how Vechain in general is, not just as a company, but also as a public blockchain, Vechain through blockchain. So Vechain is a public blockchain, which means that everyone can build on top of it. So it's open to everyone. At the same time, for example, when it comes to Toolchain, which is the IP of Vechain Tech, we are also it's a different gear. So one gear is open to public, and the other gear is more enterprise, and the companies who want to use the Toolchain as a service. So you mentioned about PwC, and with PwC, for example, today in the China International Import Expo, we share the stage and we discuss about the solution we built together in China, which is the Air Trace, a supply chain management track and trace. So you can understand that we grow together, we walk together, and we walk together until the end with our partners. This respect we have for all of our strategic partners, it also makes us the most trusted partner that they could ever find, because we have DNV. from the one side. We have PwC, we have Deloitte, we have Grant Thornton. Of course, there is conflict of interest and competition amongst them, but because we are respecting each relationship in the same way we're respecting the other relationship, we find the right balance, not just from technological perspective, but also from the human aspect. So yeah, this is my answer to that. So two different gears, one for the public, for the individuals to be on top, and one for the enterprise with the same respect to each one.
Do you think that that one day, or perhaps it's already happening, I don't know, companies like PwC or Deloitte will have their own blockchain department, as it will be at the heart of pretty much every aspect of consulting, of every sectors might be affected by it? You think they will have to have some experts within the company to help them like produce solutions?
Actually, most of them, they have started doing it, and the reason why they have started doing it is because big four companies bring actually a lot of trust into the market. Blockchain technology, I remember it even from 2017, it was like an allergy to most traditional companies because it was associated, as you know, with Bitcoin, money laundering, and all the bad publicity. So they're a bit allergic. So the big four companies, companies like DNB, TUE, they have understood that, that they need to play the role of guarantor, the role of bringing their traditional clients into the blockchain sphere because they were allergic, even scared to understand what is blockchain about. Yes, most of the big four companies already have their department. For example, Deloitte have their own department, and the ex-CTO of blockchain Deloitte department joined Vechain recently, and we're very proud to say that, Antonio Sanatore, for the development of SDGs projects, Sustainable Development Goals projects. So you can understand that they have the expertise, and their departments are growing constantly.
Just as if anyone wants to ask a question, they are still free to put them in the chat. I have also one other. I would like you to help me for something. You said like very interesting phrases like Bitcoin can be like an analogy for some companies, for some people. But you also said cryptocurrency is the tip of the iceberg, and below it's blockchain. People seem to not really get how important it can be, how powerful it can be. Do you have like a little sentence or a little phrase, because we are actually trying to have a golden sheet at the end of the conference, and you have like a phrase that would summarize for you the rise of blockchain in our minds, in our society, and in our economy? Like, do you have, I don't know, some sentence that you would like to share with us?
Well, in general, I like philosophy, yeah. And for me, blockchain is like, reminds me of a quote of Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche said, yeah, those who are seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who couldn't hear the music. And I always use that example in daily life, even before blockchain, because blockchain is about innovation. And people, sometimes it takes them time to understand what is innovation about. And we need to find creative ways to make them interested about this technology. Why I mentioned about NFTs, because NFTs are bringing audience, bringing people into the blockchain, even without understanding what is blockchain. Cryptocurrency is the same way. So we need the people that have a bit of better understanding and knowledge of what this blockchain is about to educate them. So in French, we call it noble obligation towards the public audience. So we are the fortunate, we are the blessed people that have a bit of more information, a bit of knowledge So we need to be open. We need to open to the masses to share the information, and we need to find ways to make them interested about it. For example, NFTs, it might be a way. And why I say this, because coming from experience I had with Vechain, even before I joined Vechain officially in 2017, with Arquette. Arquette is a member of the group of H&M, and they created a beanie. So when you scan the chip of the beanie, you can see the story. But there was nothing about sustainability, audited by DNV, etc. It was just more of experiencing of a pilot solution. It took them a year to come back to us and to DNV to create my story sustainability about using second-hand clothes to create a new garment. So it takes time. Rome was not built in a day, and we need to be patient and also understanding the responsibility to educate people in the right manner.
Thank you very much, Dimitris. Thanks a lot. I would have like maybe one more question about the directions or your guidelines you would give for people who would like to apply for the grant program. I just checked that you had like $1 million in 2021. $30 kilo for each grant, that's something like that, equivalent. What would be the main axis of Vechain today of research, finally, in terms of yeah?
Well, the grant program is run by Peter Zhu.
Okay, that's okay.
But it's important. Thank you for saying that, because it's very important grant, because it's to help individuals, enterprises, universities to explore the world in terms of building of research, depending on your domain about blockchain. And we have raised the bar to accommodate the most, as many as possible people and companies to build on Vechain. So the guidelines are all in the vechain.org about the grant program, foundation grant program. It provides you a whole guideline how to apply about it. And there is a committee about it, which is taking a decision, which is also open to the public through the GitHub. So you can see the merits of your application, you can upload your application, and you can also other projects what they're doing. So it's a very transparent, open to the public way of getting the grant. And I call everyone to consider it because Vechain, besides the grant, is also the cheapest public blockchain to build on it. The transaction cost has been minimized 100% in order to lower the barrier of entry, and also for enterprises that they're considering using public blockchain and they have some reservation because of the carbon emissions. It's important to say one more time, we are one of the most green public blockchain that exists right now. And on top of it, we have strategic partners that bring value and their expertise into our network and ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. So there was also another question. Maybe Lou, you want me to continue? No, it's a question about probably globally speaking token economics. Could you please elaborate a little bit about the distribution of VET regarding the VET distribution within the VET ecosystem to Vechain, to the investors, and to the partners? Is it possible? Would you have that in mind, or?
I don't have it in front of me, but in general there is a supply chain, I think, of around 86 billion VT tokens. The VT tokens is a dual system. Vechain has dual token system. So the VT is the native token that the holder, if it holds the VT, it creates VTHOR. VTHOR is used for the payment of the gas fees. So don't consider it as a dividend, because a lot of people think, oh, if I am holding Vthor, I have a dividend. No, Vthor, it is used for paying the gas fees on using the smart contracts on the public blockchain of Vechain. And having a lot of Vthor with the Vthor price going, which is has been minimized when it comes to not on the price per dollar, for example, but on the price per usage, it means that it is much more cheaper to build on Vechain. Now, when it comes to tokenomics and the holdings, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It's more a question of the foundation, but I will find it out and share it to you, David, and you can share it.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I would say maybe it could be interesting also to give a taste of what we could plan for the next conference with Vechain. Like, you know, I don't know which startup and which partner we could onboard with you for the next conference, but I don't know.
Well, let's think of it offline, and let's think of a use case that is appealing to the people, and let's pin out to the partner, and we're looking forward to discuss with the partner on stage.
One topic which is quite interesting today is you know, about carbon, of course. So as Vechain is really involved in decarbonization, that would be really interesting to welcome the newcomer and your new colleague. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, I just would like to thank you and thank you all for your contribution, and thank you most of all Dimitris for your participation for this very nice presentation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lou, for the moderation also, and I wish you a very nice evening, and I hope to see you soon.